Hey there, so in this video I'm going to do a retrospective review of my PowerBlocks which I bought in 2016. I thought it'd be a good time to tell you, well, how did I get on with these types of weights? Have they been useful? Should you consider buying them? Have there been any niggles that have bothered me or annoyed me with these types of weights? And just overall my experience of using them. So I would say the first thing, the good news is I would recommend them. I still continue to use them now 3 or 4 times a week when I'm working out, and they're the only real dumbbells that I do use because, as you can see, my gym is, I've got a decent gym, it's decent size, but I don't really want to have a massive, great big dumbbell rack, and I don't really see any need to replace them. So that's the good news about these dumbbells. They've served their purpose for sure. In terms of the quality, the build quality, they're in perfect condition. Absolutely everything about them is pretty much as when I bought them. All of the like, even down to like these elastic bits here, absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. A couple of little scratches, wear and tear, but all of these like little plastic things that mark the colors of the weights, it's all color coded. All of those are in perfect condition and are still on the weights, haven't fallen off or anything like that. So I suppose the part of the reason for that is that with power blocks you can't really throw the weights around. They're not like those hex dumbbells where you've got like rubber casing around them that you can just chuck them down. So that's one thing to be aware of with these. If I have to look at other things that I might be a bit critical about them, is that they, in a very limited number of exercises, I mean, for me, it's only really one exercise that I would like to do that I can't do as well with power blocks as with regular dumbbells, would be the pullover. That's because I need to get my hand into, or I need to get two hands rather into there. So problem is when you want to get two hands, if you've got, I don't have huge hands, but I've got, fairly large hands, and I want to get my hands, so one hand in on each side, gripping around this handle. And I find that when I'm working up to the larger or the heavier end of the weights, you have more and more of these weights in here, and my two hands can't fit in easily around that handle, especially when I'm lifting heavy. So that's just something to be aware of. Pullovers, they're not ideal unless you're working with the lighter weights, maybe up to, I think probably be okay, or at least if you've got hands similar size to mine, you'd be okay up to I think maybe even up to 22.5, but definitely up to 18 kilos, you'd be fine. You have to be critical about these power blocks. The only other minor quibble would be to say that when you're working with the very, very light end of the weights, the handle on its own, it's got these two adder weights in. With the adder weights, I think it's 4.25 kilos, and without the adder weights, it's 2.25 kilos. So each of those adder weights are 1 kilo. And I would say if I was just to do some very limited shoulder exercises where I want to lift a very light weight, I probably wouldn't use just the handle because it's just too big and cumbersome, and it's fiddly to get it out of there. So I have bought like a pair of these uh, little dumbbells for, and that's a bit embarrassing, I just showed you I'm wearing sandals with socks. How geeky am I? Anyway, so the handle, the 2 kilo weights for some shoulder work, just much more convenient. So I just bought those for a few pounds. And apart from that, what else to say about these? Don't know if you know, but if you're familiar with PowerBlocks, you probably know that they work. There's an expansion system, so you actually only buy a limited number of weights. So I think when I bought the set originally, I only bought, maybe it was up to 18 kilos or up to 22.5. I can't remember, one of those two anyway. And then I bought another expansion set, which is just like another couple of these. So maybe that was 27 to 32 and then 36 to 41 until I had the full set. But the reason that I bought the two expansion sets, which are not cheap to be honest, is because it was working really well for me, and I found that over the years I wanted to continue using them, and I bought the expansion. So that's why I'm happy to recommend PowerBlocks as a system. The reason why I bought these rather than Bowflex was I was actually thinking about buying Bowflex, but then I saw some reviews about people saying, if you use Bowflex, which looked more like a traditional dumbbell, then the disadvantages is on the very lightweight. The weight is just as big as when you use a very heavy weight. So it's not like with this that where you're using, as you're increasing the weight. So let's say increase the weight a little bit, you get a larger weight, and so the size is in relation to the weight. On Bowflex, even if you're lifting the lightest weight, it's just the same size as if you're lifting the heaviest weight, which, as you can imagine, if you're doing like anything slight where you're in slightly small space or whatever, or it can be really awkward to have that really large, wide Bowflex dumbbell when you're working out. So I found that was a deciding factor for me, and I don't know if it would be for you, but anyway, that was what I considered. The other thing you notice is that I'm not using the official PowerBlock stand. I think it costs a couple of £100, or maybe a bit less actually, but it's still pretty expensive. And so in the end, I just bought this. It's like a little step ladder of 2 steps on Amazon, and I'll put a link to the description for that because I think it only cost me maybe £20 or less, British pounds, and it fits. And I've been storing these on there for probably 18 months to 2 years. So it's definitely strong enough and it fits pretty well. These are going right to the edge of this one, but if you don't have the expansion packs, it will fit even more comfortably, but it fits really well as far as I'm concerned. And it's just nice to have them not directly on the ground, especially when you're lifting up the heaviest, like the 41 kilos. It's just easier to not have to lift them right off the ground all the time, and they don't scratch my floor because I got this special floor. Anyway, I hope you found the video useful. Be interested to hear about your views on PowerBlocks. Just to say, last thing was that I don't think they make this type anymore. This is a Sport 9.0, but they make a newer version, which as far as I understand is pretty much the same. Looks slightly sleeker, and have these like weird bright color, like childish colors. So it probably look a lot better in your gym, but the basic things is pretty much the same. And so I hope you found this review useful, and if you have any other questions about these PowerBlocks, or if you want to share your thoughts on using PowerBlocks, then drop a comment, and look forward to reading those. Take care, bye.